This session we will focus on create task functionality in the task manager module of our project. In this session, we will develop backend APIs for task creation using Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB. We will also understand how correlation ID can be passed through JWT payload for request tracking in distributed microservices architecture. By end of this session, you will be able to understand the design and implementation of create task functionality in task manager module. Develop backend RESTful APIs for task creation using Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB. Configure database connectivity and store task-related data securely in MongoDB collections. Design and implement task data model using Mongo schema definitions. Generate and pass correlation ID information through JWT payloads for request tracking and distributed service communication, and integrate front-end create task forms with backend APIs. This session is important because backend task management APIs form the foundation for all task-related operations in the application. Let's start implementation. Go to project location and delete the folder frontend underscore repo to get a latest version from the Git repository. And execute command prompt for this location. Click on the address bar and execute the command cmd. Once the command prompt is opens, clone the repository by using the command git clone followed by the repository URL. The repository URL is given in the video description. Once the cloning process completes, we can close the command prompt. It creates a folder frontend underscore repo. Open the folder frontend underscore repo and choose the latest version 5.0. The version 5.0 have both the application, updated version of frontend, and the backend application, what we done up to the previous part of video session. So open frontend in VS Code. Then add terminal. Convert the terminal into command prompt mode. Since the project recently cloned from the repository, we must install the dependencies. So use the command npm install. Next, start its execution by using the command npm run dev and press O to open it on the browser. Next, go to the folder backend and open the project gateway in VS Code. Then add terminal. Make sure that you open the project gateway from the version 5.0 and convert the terminal into command prompt mode. Set up the virtual environment because the project recently cloned from the repository. So use the command python -m venv space venv to set up virtual environment in the project. Next, activate the virtual environment by using venv/scripts/activate. Then we can install the required libraries from requirements.txt by using the command pip install space -r followed by the file name requirements.txt. Once the libraries are installed, we can start its execution by using the command python space filename run.py. Now the project is started. Then open the project core services in Spring Tools. Make sure the workspace location, it is from the version 5.0 backend folder. Then import the project. Go to file menu and choose import option. Then select Maven and then existing Maven project. Click on next. Then click on the browse button. Navigate to the project workspace and choose the project core services. We can see the progress on the bottom right corner. We must wait. The background progress will complete 100%. Now go to the location, src main resources, open the file application.properties and update the database password of PostgreSQL. Then save, close the file application.properties, then open pgadmin and connect with the database mth in Postgres and go to tables, drop all the tables because the project is recently cloned from the repository. So we can create a table by deploying the project. Then right click on the project name in the Spring Tools and use the option Run as Spring Boot F. Once the project is started, the tables will be created automatically in the database based on the entity classes. Then go to pgadmin, right click on tables, refresh. Now we can see all the tables here. Then use query tool and click on the open file icon and go to the location version 5.0. Choose the file PostgreSQL sheet to feed data to the tables and click on the execute query. Once the script is executed, then view the tables one by one. First execute select query for the table users. It will bring data from the table user. The table has 3 records, one admin, one manager and one user. Then execute select query for the table roles. It has 3 roles, user, manager and admin. Then select query for menus. It has 5 records. So the project is planned to implement 5 modules. Then execute select query for roles mapping. It shows the relationship between menu and the role. Then go to the file src main java and open mth.services. Open the file jwt-service.java. The method generate token takes 2 parameters as an input. One is username and another one is role that will be added in the payload of jwt token. Now we need to include one more field, users primary key, which will act as a correlation ID. Correlation ID is used to track the request in distributed microservices. So create object ID and include it in the payload. So payload.put, just name the key as CRID, stands for correlation ID, and assign value from the third parameter ID. Then save. It creates issue on the user service.java where the method generate token is called. So find out the statement jwt.generate token. Previously it takes 2 parameters as an input. Now we need to add primary key of the user. So u.get id. Then save. Now the issue has been resolved. Once the project is restarted, then go to the browser where frontend is running. Try to log in using admin credential. We can get admin credential from the table users. This is the mail ID for admin and password is 123. So let me use the mail ID for admin credential and password. Then click on let's start to sign in. Then we need to implement create task functionality for the module task manager. If user click on the button add new, they can enter the data to create a new task. Task title, description, and search the user to assign a task, task priority, deadline, and status. So we need to create a Node.js project to perform create task functionality with MongoDB. So go to the folder backend and create a new folder, task services. Then open task services. Open this folder in VS Code. So click on the address bar and execute the command code space dot. Once it opens in VS Code, add a terminal. And convert the terminal into command prompt mode and start creating a Node.js project using the command npm init. It will ask you to enter the package name. You can skip by press the enter key. version can skip, description, entry point need to be entered, main.js. Then we can skip test command, git repository, keywords, author, license, type should be module. Then it will ask your confirmation. Just press enter to give yes for this. Now the package.json has been added into the project folder. So just go through the content of package.json. We given input for type as a module and entry point as main.js. Then we can install the required libraries for implementing a task service module. npm install white is the framework and express is the library to create REST APIs, and nodemon is the library to keep on monitor the changes on the code. If any changes occurs, automatically to restart the project. Then .env to handle environment variables, and mongoose. So mongoose library is used to establish the connection with MongoDB and perform database operations. Then open the file package.json. Inside scripts, add a command start value nodemon space main.js. Then save and close package.json. Right click on the file explorer and create a new file main.js. Then repeat the same procedure, create another file .env and add environment variable port equal to 8002 in .env file. The gateway service project, which is created using Python Fast API, is running with port number 8000, and the project core services created using Spring Boot running with port number 8001. So I'm assigning the port number 8002 for this project. Then save, close .env file, open main.js in the editor, import the express library, import express from the library express, then import .env from the library .env. Next, create express object. So const app equal to express, then app.use express.json. So it means all the transaction in the form of JSON. Then call the function config from the library .env to read environment variables from .env file. So it used to read from .env. Next, create a space to establish database connection and create a space to register all the routers. Then create a default endpoint app.get path slash create arrow function in asynchronous mode. So add a keyword asynchronous and create arrow function with two parameter request comma response end with semicolon. So place cursor in between open and close braces, enter, make it as a multi-line statement for better understanding. Then return a response by using the parameter res and call the function JSON. So pass response in the form of JSON. So use open and close braces, set code 200 and message started. Then save and create a const object port get value from the .env file. So process.env.port and create a listener app.listen. The function listen takes two parameters, one is port number and another one is callback function. So create a callback function. Inside you can display the text on the console by using console.log and print the message on the console: server running on http://localhost: concatenate the port number, then save and go to the terminal. Start its execution by using the command npm start. Now the nodemon is activated and it displays the text server running on http://localhost:8002. So copy this URL, open a browser, new tab and paste it, enter. It displays the content from the default endpoint. Next, implement MVC architecture. So right click on the empty space of Explorer, add a new folder, config. Here we can add configuration to establish connection with MongoDB. Next, create another folder, controllers. Then another folder, models. Then create another folder, services. Then start from config. Right click on the folder config and add a new file, db.js. So import the library Mongoose and import .env from the library .env. Next, call the config function from the library .env to access the environment variables. Next, create a constant db URL equal to process.env.db URL. So take value from the environment variable. So go to the file .env, create a new environment variable db URL equal to, go to browser, open a new tab, search for MongoDB Atlas login, then click on the link. If you are not having account, use the option sign up to create an account. Once the account is created, you can sign in using your credential. Then it will go to the dashboard. There you can click on the tab in the left panel, clusters. If already cluster is there in your account, you can reuse it. Otherwise, you can start building a new cluster. Click on the button build cluster and choose free version. If you want, you can change the cluster name or you can proceed with the default name cluster 0 and service provider is AWS region Mumbai. Then click on the button create deployment. It takes some time to create a cluster for us. In this pop-up window, we must create database user to access the database. First, the account we created to access the MongoDB Atlas. Here, we need to create username password to access the database inside the MongoDB Atlas. Let me create username as admin and password admin123 without the special character. Try to avoid the special character at the rate symbol. Then click on the button create database user. Then click on choose connection method and click on drivers. Make sure the driver is Node.js and version 6.7 or later. Then go to the connection string. Sometimes these connection strings may not work. So disable the option SRV connection string. Then it displays a detailed connection string. Copy, and go to the project, open the file .env and paste for the environment variable db URL. Then update your database password here. Sometimes the connection string may not have database password. You need to update your database password here. Then find a symbol, question mark symbol in the connection string. In between the slash and question mark symbol, mention the database name. So let me given the database name as mth. So while establishing a connection, automatically it creates a database in the name mth. Then save and close. Go to db.js and create an object db and create a function to establish connection with MongoDB. So export async function. We can assign some name to the function connect db. Inside validate the condition if not db. So database connection not yet established. Then create by using the statement db equal to await mongos.connect and pass the value of db URL as a parameter. Finally, return the object db. In db.js, we configured the database connection with MongoDB. Then save. Import Mongos from the library Mongos. Then create a schema, const task schema equal to new mongos.schema. The function schema takes input in the form of JSON. So JSON means it should be enclosed with open and close braces. So place cursor in between open and close braces and enter. So here we can list out all the fields required to implement create task functionality. As per front-end design, user can send title, description assigned to priority, deadline, task status. So inside task.js, create a field title and set its data type as string and make it as a mandatory field. So required true. Then description and set its type as string and make it as mandatory field. So required true. Next to description assigned to. And set its type integer, that means number. This field is used to store the primary key of a user. So required true. Next to assigned to priority, deadline, status. Priority set as number and required true. Next to priority, deadline. Declare it as a string and set required as true. Next status. Set its type as number and required true. Next, add a timestamp as a second parameter. the first parameter ended here, comma, we can pass second parameter for timestamp. So inside add a timestamp is a keyword. It have two things. Created at is the predefined key, and it will be saved in the database as created at. And the second one is updated at. It will be saved in the database as updated at. Next, create a constant task equal to mongoose.model and pass two parameter. First one, name of the collection, and second one is the schema. Then export the object task so that it can be used in another file. So export default task. Then go to services, right click on the folder services, use the option new file and create a file task service.js. Open it in editor and import the object task from the file task.js. So add the extension .js. Next, import JWT from the library JSON Web Token. The library not yet installed. So go to the console, stop its execution, use Ctrl C, press Y and enter. Then install by using the command npm install space JSON Web Token. Then we can import it. Import JWT from the library JSON Web Token. Then import .env from the library .env. Then call the function config from .env to access the environment variables. Then go to the file .env. Next to the connection string, create a new environment variable secret key. And value can be taken from Spring Boot application. Inside JWT service, copy the secret key which we use to generate a token. Same key is required for validating a token in Node.js project. So copy this secret key and go to the file .env in task services and paste. Then save. If we make any changes in .env file, we must stop execution of the project and start it again. Then only the changes what we made inside .env will be reflected on the project. Then create a constant secret key, value taken from the .env file. So process.env.secret key. Next, create a function to perform create task functionality with MongoDB. So export async function and the name of the function create task with two parameters. One is data and another one is token. Inside, create a response object and create try catch for exception handling. Finally, return the response object. Inside catch block, set response equal to code 500 message e dot message. Inside try, create object const payload equal to, use the object of JSON web token which is mentioned in the import statement, JWT, and call the function verify. The function verify takes two parameter, one is the token and another one is secret key. It validates the token and authorizes the request. If token validates, it extracts the content of payload. From front end, user send data to create a new task, title, description assigned to, priority, deadline, and status. Along with that, we need to maintain one hidden field created by. That field will help us to track who created the task. So go to the file task.js, add one more field created by, and set its data type number and make it as mandatory. So required true. Before performing insert operation, we must set value for data dot created by equal to, from payload we can take the correlation ID. The user's primary key will act as a correlation ID that will be added into the payload while generating a token in Spring Boot application. Now that correlation ID will be assigned to the field created by to track the task based on the user. Next, perform the database operation. So we can use the object task and call the function create. Create is a predefined function of Mongoose library and pass data as an input. So this will perform insert operation into the database. Then we need to return the response. So response equal to assign JSON data code 200 and message new task has been created. Then save changes and go to the folder controllers, right click on it, create a new file, name the file as task controller.js. Then import express from the library express. Then create object router equal to express.router. Then create an endpoint by using the object router dot post and set name of the endpoint as create task and add arrow function in asynchronous mode with two parameter, request comma response, end with semicolon. Then place cursor in between open and close braces and make it as multi-line statement. Here we need to call the function which is implemented inside task service.js. So import it, import all the functions from task service dot double dot slash and go to the folder services inside task service.js. Next, here we can use await and use the object of task service and call the function create task. The function required two parameter, one is data and another one is token. So data can be taken from the request parameter dot body. So front end will send data along with the request body, and token can be taken from the request header. So request dot headers, and the name of the header is token. So this function create task will perform insert operation into the database and returns a response that should be returned back to the front end. So this would be enclosed inside res.json. Then save and export the router to be registered inside main. So export default the object router and go to main.js, import the router, import, I just name the router as task router from dot slash controllers slash task controller dot js, and also import the function connect db from db.js, import from dot slash config slash db.js. Then here we can call the function connect db. Select it from the list, so it will be added into the import statement. Otherwise we need to add it manually. Here we can register the router. So app.use and set name of the API. I given name of the API as task and object of task router. Then save, start its execution, go to the terminal and use the command npm start. So it displays the message server running. Then we can test the API. We can use either Postman tool or REST client extension of Chrome browser. So open a new tab, search for the keyword REST client Chrome, then click on the link REST client. It displays button on the right side, remove from Chrome, because I already had the extension. In case if it is not yet added, it displays a button with the caption add to Chrome. So click on add to Chrome, click on the button add extension, then it will be added. Next, we can use this for testing the APIs. So near to the address bar, there is a icon, extension icon. Click on it, then choose REST client. This is the interface where we can test the API. So set the request method as post, because in task controller.js we use the request method post, and the base URL. So we can take the base URL from the console, copy and paste it here, slash name of the API. So name of the API is available in main.js. While registering the router, we given the API name. So name of the API is task. So next, endpoint. So endpoint name is mentioned in task controller. This is the endpoint name, create task. Now the URL is ready for testing. Then click on the button add header, name the header as token, and go to the front end, use inspect element, press Ctrl Shift C and go to the tab application. Under local storage, select front end URL and copy the token and return back to the tab REST client, paste in the place of value and save. Now token is given for authorization. Then we need to test by passing an input in the form of JSON in the request body. So it should be enclosed with open and close braces. Here we can list out all the fields. So go to task, list out all the fields starting from title and its value, This is the title. Next, description. So try to avoid spelling mistakes. So the key must match with the field available in task.js. Better we can copy here and paste it. Write some description. Next, assigned to. So it will take a primary key of a user. So let me assign to the primary key 3. Next, priority. We can set 0. Next, deadline. Some date we can give 5/30/2026. Next field is status. So let me give 0 for status. Then the last one is hidden field, created by. So give some value for create by. The actual value of create by is defined in the code. Then click on the button send request. We'll get a response. New task has been created with success score 200. Then go to MongoDB. Click on the done button to close. In left panel, there is an option Data Explorer. So click on Data Explorer and move cursor on the cluster. Nearby you will get a button connect. Click on connect. Once the connection is established, you can see the database MTH is created automatically. Inside the collection task is created because of the configuration given here. So we given the collection name as task. So the collection is created with the name task. So we can see the data which we submitted from the REST client. If you want to view this in table form, there is an option here. Click on the grid layout. So it displays in the form of table. Actually, it's not saved in the form of table. In MongoDB is no SQL database. The data will be saved as a document, not a table. Then we can test using the front end. Go to the tab where front end is running. So here they can enter the title, create my task module is the title. So use Node.js and MongoDB is the description. Assigned it to, if you start typing to find the users here, it will try to connect with the endpoint to fetch user data from the database. As of now, the implementation not yet done in Spring Boot application. That's why it shows this error. So go to Spring Boot application, open the file user service.java, go to the end and create a new method to perform search user operation. So next to delete user, I'm going to create a method for search user. Public with return type object. Name the method as search user with one parameter string key. Inside, create a response object using map. And initialize by using new hash map. Then create a try catch for handling the exception. Finally, return response object. Inside catch block, set response with error code 500 and response dot put message from e dot get message. Inside try block, start implementation. So go to the package repository, open users repository.java, create a new SQL query to display user details based on the key. So go to pgadmin, use new query tool to generate a query. Select star from table users where full name. So in front end, user can search by using their full name. So full name like the pattern. Key is the pattern. Suppose the value of key they entered as AD. If you execute the query for this, it brings data from the table. So no record matched with the pattern. If I give the value of key in capital letter, it bring one data from the database because the user full name is given in capital letter. So to avoid this, we must convert the value of full name into lowercase. Then we can apply. Now it will work for small letters also. So copy this query and go to the file users repository.java. Use the annotation @query. Here we can paste and convert into JPA. So create a method, public, it returns a list of objects. So list of object, it returns list of users. I just name the query as search user with the parameter string key. So add annotation @param to map with query. Now we can convert the SQL query into JPA. So replace star with the object u and a table with entity class users and create object for it where lower of u dot full name like we can use the function concat make it as one string comma, this will be another string comma, and this will be another string. So here we can replace the parameter key and convert into lowercase lower and convert the value of key into lowercase letters so that it will be matched with user's full name even though they entered capital letters in the search bar. Next, save and go to the file user service.java. Here create list of object, name the object as users equal to by using object of user repository and call the query search user and pass key as a input. Then return the response with the success code 200 and a response with the list of users value from the object users. Then save and go to the controller, open the file users controller.java, create a new endpoint for search users @get mapping, set endpoint name as search user with the path variable key and create a method public and return type as object. Search user is the method name with one parameter, string key. Then map with the path variable by using the annotation @path variable and mention the path variable name key in capital letter. Inside add return statement, use object of user service and call the method search user and pass key as an input. Then save and open new tab. Open Swagger for the Spring Boot, which is running with port number 8001, and go to the endpoint search user. Click on try it out. Just enter some value as a key, then click on execute. So it will bring data which is matched for the key. Then go to the project gateway and open the file authentication controller.py. At the end, create a new endpoint for search user. So I can copy this and paste it. Change the request method as get and endpoint name as search user and path variable key. Change the function name search user, parameter name is key and declared as a string, and there is no token for this endpoint. Here we can replace client.delete as client.get and update the endpoint name search user and pass the parameter key here, and there is no token in the header, so we can remove this. Save and open Swagger for past API. Open a new tab, localhost 8000/docs, and go to the new endpoint search user. Try it out, enter some data, click on execute. It will bring data from the database. That means it successfully connects with the Spring Boot. Then we can test from the front end. I will try to enter 2 letters. So it fetches data from the database and displays the name of the user based on the input I entered in the input text box assigned to. So they can select to assign a task. So let me assign to the user, and priority is normal. Deadline I'm going to set 30th May 2026 and status assigned. If user click on save, it must establish connection with the task services which is implemented using Node.js. As of now, the connection is not yet implemented. That's why it displays undefined. Then go to the project gateway. Inside controller, create a new file. Name it as taskcontroller.py. Then go to .env. Create a new environment variable, node URL equal to http://localhost:8002. Then save and close .env file. Then import the libraries as like authentication controller. We need import the past API and model and HTTPS and OS and then .env. So copy all the import statement from authentication controller and paste it here, and go to models package, open schemas.py, create a new schema for task. So class, I just name it as task schema. Here list out all the attributes, title declared as string, Next, description. So better we can copy from task.js and paste it. Set data type str, string for title, string for description, integer for assigned to, priority is also integer, deadline as string, status as int, and created by int. Then save. Then go to the file task controller, import, remove this schemas and import task schema. Then start creating a endpoint. Create a router object. So router equal to API router and set prefix equal to / task service. Then call load.env to access the environment variables and get node URL equal to os.getenv and the name of the variable node underscore URL. So cross check with .env file. Name of the environment variable is node underscore URL. Next, create a endpoint. We can copy one of the endpoint from authentication controller.py and use it here and change endpoint name as create task and change the function name create task. Data must match with the schema, task schema, and token can be taken from the request header and change the base URL as node URL. Inside task, there is a endpoint create task and pass the data in the form of JSON. So JSON equal to data.model dump and header. Then save and go to init.py inside controllers. Create a router from dot task controller, import router as task router. Then go to main.py, register the router here. App.include router task router. Then open a browser, go to the Swagger page for Fast API, refresh and find the newly added endpoint task service / create task. Then go to the front end, click on the button save. It performs insert operation into the database MongoDB through Node.js task service project and returns a response. New task has been created. We can cross check with the MongoDB. So refresh on the collection task. Now the second data which we submitted from the front end is available on the database. So in this session, we have understood the create task functionality in the task manager module, learned backend API development using Node.js, Express.js and MongoDB, explored MongoDB collections and Mongo schema concepts, understood the role of correlation ID in the distributed systems, and also explored front-end backend integration for task creation workflows. In the next session, we will continue implementing additional CRUD functionalities in the task manager module for the microtask project.